everyone. Welcome to Little Summer Joys 2023, and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. In this video, I'll be putting together a simple sort of cover page or intro page for my album before working with any of the prompts. I am sort of setting up a foundation for my album, pulling out some pattern paper from the many beautiful Studio Calico Traveler's notebooks I have, trying to use up some of those papers. I'll be using 2 blank Traveler's notebooks. One I'll deconstruct just to use the blank white paper where I want it, and then the other is where I'll be building my album inside it. If it gets to be too bulky, I might take it apart and put it on rings or in an album. I might even stitch it together as a bigger album at the end, but we'll see how it goes and how bulky it gets. I'm trying to keep it simple this year. I'm working in a traveler's notebook again. This is a project originally created by Julie Love Gagen, and I think she started around 2015. I'm not sure, but I did it the first time in 2016, and I just really enjoyed working in a traveler's notebook for the first time. The simple prompts and just this idea of looking for small joys, not needing something super exciting to be going on, just a celebration of and a noticing of what's good in daily life, or, kind of what's already happening in our summer that we just want to notice and be grateful for. I think it's a really good practice. I wasn't planning to do this project just because it's been a little bit of a tumultuous couple of months in my life. But because my crafty friends online are so sweet and encouraging, when I shared that I was thinking about doing it, everyone sort of cheered the idea on. So I got inspired and excited to give it a go this year and kind of ease back into regular memory keeping. So now I've got a good pile there of beautiful pattern papers that kind of will work for the album. And I selected one to be on the cover page or the intro page. I'm using that stamp from Studio Calico last winter. And I'm using my beloved Close to My Heart inks. There's Glacier, and I think Seabrook, Periwinkle. So I'm trying to match my colors there to the stripes in the pattern paper, and I found some that matched really pretty well. I will link things in the description, but this, I'll say this really isn't about products or selling anything. It's more just meant to be an encouragement for sharing and being in community with this project. But I will link anything that's not super old. I'll put in the notes. But I encourage you, of course, to just go through your things. Here I just went through all my summer stamps and looked for little icons like this cute little ice cream. And I'm just testing out whether I want to do a first generation or second generation stamp. I'll be stamping on a blank white page to create a sort of a background of icons, summer icons for the cover page. And then I had planned to stamp the title across the side. So I wanted to keep it sort of light, not to take away from the title. Actually, I ended up going with sticker letters, but same idea. That's really going to be the focus of the page. So I'll continue to pull out stamps with icons that I want to use for the background. If you know me, you know I have many stamps. Many stamps to choose from, and I love getting a chance to get them inky, getting an excuse to get them inky and on the page. So lots of cute little summer icons. I think there's a watermelon, a bicycle, the ice cream cone, a sun. I can't remember what else, but I got quite a few icons going on the page here. And I do mostly second generation stamps because I don't want it to be too bold for the title that's going along this side. And I really do like using a traveler's notebook for this project. I do mostly I'm doing Project Life and Allie Edwards story kits this year. So I like that it gives me an excuse to kind of, work more with getting pages really inky and working outside the pocket. And I just like the notebooky sort of feel of it in the end. But I did want to mention or kind of suggest that of course you can use the prompts in so many ways. You could use it as like just a photo challenge, or just a writing prompt if you wanted to. You could make each prompt into like one card and one pocket in your regular Project Life album or whatever kind of pocket album you do. You could make a 12 by 12 layout for each prompt. You could even just use the prompt, like as a reminder to look for small joys in that area each week or throughout the summer. So, make it work for you, make it fun for you. That's the invitation. Also, you don't need to go in order. I will save some blank spaces after I've done maybe one layout for the prompt. I'll usually save some blank spaces in the notebook. And if I end up not using them, I'll just glue them together in the end. But it leaves me some space to come back and put more stories for that prompt in. You might find your story like I did for Summer Nights on a totally different week than the prompt, and it doesn't matter. You can just put it in there. Don't be too strict with yourself about the order or the timing if that's going to make this less fun for you. If the structure makes it more fun and doable for you, then of course embrace that. But just, move toward what makes it fun for you. We are just here experimenting and having fun and putting cute little bicycle stamps on our page. It looks like I found a book stamp. I do lots of summer reading. And a seashell, which of course I'm nowhere near the sea anymore, but it's very cute. And then I was testing out my stamps. So I'm using Small Moments of Joy, the phrase from this. This was actually a winter themed 6x8 stamp set from Studio Calico, I believe last winter. But it has lots of phrases about like joy and being in the moment and that kind of thing that is usable any time of year. So I was a little bit nervous about stamping this right on the page. So I tested it a few times and then I ended up using a mix of intense black and archival black, both together. It just seemed to be what worked the best. And I gave it a go. I just thought if I totally screwed it up, I would just, do it on a white piece of paper and cut it into a fun circle or something. But it worked. It worked beautifully. And I was really happy with how it came out. And I love that font. So now I am testing some summer letters. So funny thing about this, I go through this whole process of setting up all these letters and I end up completely using different letters in the end. I'll show you how it turned out, but I use that little plastic is a trick I've seen many memory keepers, scrapbookers use to kind of test where you want something to go. You just put it on a little scrap piece of clear plastic, the kind that stamps come in or everything comes wrapped in these days. It just works really well to kind of line up the letters and test where you want them to go. And so I'm putting these all down. I think they look pretty good, but in the end I decide that these aren't, quite enough of a statement. And I end up changing them, which is sort of ridiculous, but I was still having fun, and that's the main thing. So the prompts this year, I pulled out my binder that has all my alphas in it, and I gotta say, I do love the ones that are hole punched. I mean, I have a huge box of alphas that I'll probably never get through, but I really enjoy having them organized in this notebook. Or this binder rather. It's definitely makes it easier to go through them in a way. I don't know why, but it's really nice. So I hope more vendors maybe start doing that. But anyway, trying to have a different font for joys there. And our first prompt is going to be summer bucket list. I think that one's pretty straightforward, but of course you could do a summer manifesto like we've done other years. You could do a summer goals in various areas. And then the next week we have summer playlist, which is a fun one. And we made a community playlist on Spotify this year. That's linked in my Instagram profile if you want to see that. And I've added a few more songs to it as well as the summer is continuing on. I'm coming across more songs and adding to our community summer playlist. So check that out if you want some music. There's definitely some music on there that I don't normally listen to. So a variety that maybe will introduce you to some new music. So feel free to check that out. And the prompt for the week after that is summer drinks, one of my favorites. And, I think you can go out of your way to find a fun summer drink, or you can just make it simple and just, whatever you're drinking on ice, snap a photo of it and talk about why that's what you're drinking this summer. It doesn't have to be a big deal. Then the next week was 4th of July. So that's summer nights. It could be you're doing something for 4th of July, or it could be completely unrelated to that, like mine ends up being. And then we have summer eats. And maybe you're grilling out this year. Maybe you have a favorite ice cream shop. Just a chance to document whatever you're eating and enjoying in that area. And then we have, yes, I'm still picking out stickers, if you can believe it, for my title. So anyway, then we have Hometown Tourist is one of my favorite. If not, it's probably my favorite prompt. And I think I said in my post on Instagram that it could be called Home Now Tourist, because, a lot of people don't live in their hometown. It just means wherever you live now, kind of having a tourist mindset or a beginner's mindset, so that you look at where you live with a different eye and maybe just think about where you would take a friend that's really enjoyable where you live. So it could be, a really touristy thing, or it could just be like your favorite coffee shop or something, that you maybe haven't gone to a whole lot recently. So just an invitation to check out your now town or your hometown, however you want to say it. And then the week of July 24th, we have summer arts and crafts. I think that's the week this video is going to be going up. And that's a really flexible one. It could be going to a movie, going to a performance in the park, there's a lot of outdoor performances and movies and Shakespeare and all kinds of things in the summer, depending on where you live. Um, it could also be just the art that you're doing at home, arts and crafts. Yeah, it's really flexible. So think about that one. And then, okay, so I finished up my pages here and I'm gluing them in. Isn't that fascinating? But it is kind of satisfying in a way to have the pages done and be sticking them down. I made this way longer than it needed to be by redoing all my letters, which I can show you at the end how I redid them if you want to stick it out that long. But continuing, that's my blank notebook that I'm gluing my page inside. So you can see just having that blank notebook as a foundation. That's also a blank traveler's notebook from Studio Calico. And just having that as a foundation is helpful. And then the page that I stamped on was the deconstructed plain notebook that I'm now, gluing into the foundational notebook. So having both I find to be really helpful. So I actually really like how the letters look in the notebook, looking back, but I ended up going for something a little bit more bold. Here's a painful moment where I didn't quite get her lined up right and had to pull it out just a little bit. But I got it all in there and got that cover page. So I think it turned out pretty fun. I'm going to just snip off a little of the overhang off the top with my Tim Holtz fussy cutting scissors. And then this is another thing that I changed my mind on. I love this cover so much. I completely glued it down. And then I realized that it just doesn't match the colors of, most of what I picked for my summer album. But nevertheless, this demonstrates how you can take the blank notebook and put a cover either that you create yourself from any pattern paper that you have, or of course, if you have the Studio Calico Traveler's Notebooks, you can add any cover you like to the blank notebooks. I end up actually using some undo to pull it off and put a different one on that matches the colors that I pulled out from my album a little better, but you get the idea of how that could work. Okay, so this is a few days later after I had already done a few layouts in my album, and this was just really bothering me. I wasn't loving the way the intro looked, and I had found some other alphas that I thought would be make a fun title. And so I had these mint colored puffy stickers that I'd wanted to use for a long time. So they worked really well, but then I wanted to use something to make summer kind of stand out. And so I found these sort of coral colored scripty puffy stickers. I keep saying stickers, but letters, puffy letters from Felicity Jane from who knows when. They're probably fairly old. And they match the coral in the stripes, which are off camera right now, but the stripe just beyond what's in frame match this coral color really perfectly. So, and then I like how it really accents summer. I didn't film it, but I did end up actually using a little fine liner glue on those mint puffy letters because they were being ornery and scooting all around. So they're a little scooty in the video and in my photos at first, but I did end up gluing them down so they're nice and straight there in the end. And I really like that sort of a bolder title that I ended up with. The first one wasn't bad, but I like that one more. And then I'm going back. The other thing I changed, of course, was, like I said, the cover. And pardon my bumpy camera movements. And thanks for your patience while I'm still figuring out how to get what I want in frame in these videos. But yeah, I ended up going with this stripy sort of orange sherbet, very summery. I don't know. It just had a look that sort of matched where I felt like my album was going a little bit more. So I completely took off the other one, removed it. You can see the remnants, and then here's the final cover and a picture there. So thanks for sticking around if you did this long, and hopefully our future videos for each prompt will be fairly straightforward. I hope to keep them short and sweet, just to give a little inspo and a little insight on the background of each of the prompts. I think I got through all of July, this time just kind of explaining the prompts a little. I'll go into August a little closer to that time. In the meantime, just, enjoy the project however it works for you, and use the hashtag Little Summer Joys with an S 2023 on Instagram to share your project or see what everyone else is up to. And thank you so much. See you on the next prompt.